We've all been there. The washing machine is beyond repair. And all you want to know is which new model you should buy. Well, that's where the Which Just Buy This recommendations come in. Hand-picked recommendations that our product testing experts think you should buy. We've got over 50 products with a Just Buy This recommendation, from dishwashers to TVs, cordless vacuums to fitness trackers. And yes, it can be useful to spend time reading our in-depth reviews, but when you need a quick fix, a Just Buy This recommendation can save the day. To find out which products have our new seal of approval, just head to which.co.uk/justbuythis. That's which.co.uk/justbuythis. And get it right with Which.
When you go to the dentist, you know how much it's going to cost, right? Hello, it's James here again with another episode of Which Shorts. And this week, I'm bringing you a piece that Megan Thomas wrote for the October issue of Which magazine, all about dentists, where she revealed the results of our survey into the best providers, while also sharing some useful tips on how to make the most of your time in the dentist's chair. Here's Megan's piece, adapted for the podcast this week, read by Kat Chureda.
When you visit an NHS GP, A&E or walk-in centre, you know how much it's going to cost you. Nothing. But a dentist? Maybe you're not as confident of the price tag. Well, you're not alone. We asked over 11,000 people, including Which Connect panel members and the general public in April and May 2025, about their dentistry experiences. Just 1 in 3 people who had received treatment said they had been given a written treatment plan that included costs at their most recent appointment. The dentist regulator, the General Dental Council, says that all patients should get one for any care beyond the initial examination. The dentistry industry is under pressure. For years, the NHS dentistry contract has been a huge sticking point for dentists and, as a result, for patients too. The British Dental Association, or the BDA, estimated that in 2025, the average practice will lose £7.69 when they carry out a new patient exam on the NHS, £21 when they fit a root canal and crown, and £42.60 when they fit a denture. Hannah Woolnough, a dentist in Suffolk, told us, "You're not just paying the dentist, but you're paying for the electricity, the maintenance of the equipment, the salaries for nurses and receptionists." She went on, "If you need things like crowns and dentures, the lab fees can exceed what the practice gets in total. These costs are rising too, and you'll see this reflected in the fees you pay." The BDA reported an increase of 9.6% in private fees between 2023 and 2024. With this pressure on finances, many dentists have been pulling back from the NHS care in recent years. According to the NHS Business Service Authority data, 34 million courses of NHS treatment were provided in England in 2023 to 2024. This is more than the previous year, but still down on the nearly 39 million in 2019 to 2020. How can you get the most out of your dentist appointment? First off, make sure you're upfront about all the concerns that you have. If you have multiple ones, ideally let the receptionist know when you book, so the dentist can prioritise or schedule enough time to address all of them during your appointment. This is especially important if you're an NHS patient, when time with your dentist is precious, as checkups typically last around 10 minutes. See what you can do at home to keep your teeth healthy too. Using an electric toothbrush can reduce some of the human error in their brushing technique, giving you a better chance of removing more plaque and achieving a cleaner, fresher smile. In our most recent tests, some of our Best Buy toothbrushes can be bought for as little as £60, and a great value option could cost just as little as £18. There's a link to all of our reviews in the show notes. What about finding the best dentist near you? Well, we've recently used the experiences of over 6,000 Which members to rate and review 7 different dentist brands. You can find all the reviews on our website. But in the meantime, Hannah Woolnough has given us some general advice. The best thing to do, she says, is to ask people in the area. Family, neighbours, colleagues, as the best practices will have a really good reputation. You can look at Google reviews, although some practices invest quite heavily in marketing and getting those 5-star reviews, so it's not always an accurate way to gauge quality. The internet can be a valuable resource, but take negative and positive reviews with a grain of salt. Practice websites will tell you which dentists have special requests. For example, if you know you've got gum problems, you might want to look for a general dentist who also lists qualifications and special interests in periodontics. If you're looking specifically for an NHS dentist, the NHS website shows which practices are taking on new patients, although this information isn't always accurate. It could be that they can take on 10 patients, but don't update the website as they could get a massive influx on calls. Have a ring around to see if they're taking on NHS patients and you might get on a waiting list. Speaking of NHS dentists, do you actually have the right to an NHS dentist? More than 2/3 of people in England believe they do, according to research carried out in September 2024 by Healthwatch, an independent organisation that advocates for patients. But unlike with your GP, you don't have an automatic right to register with an NHS dental practice. This means that there is little you can do if your dentist stops offering NHS care. If you're an NHS patient, long waiting lists means it's essential that you attend all your booked appointments, or at least give as much notice as possible if you need to cancel. Many practices have a policy of refusing further NHS treatment to those patients who repeatedly miss appointments without giving notice.
Thanks for listening to this podcast from Which, the UK's consumer champion. You can find plenty more advice about what we discussed today in the show notes. There you'll also find a link to become a Which member for 50% off the usual price, an offer exclusively available to you, our podcast listeners. Joining Which will not only give you access to all of our product reviews, our app, one-to-one personalised buying advice and every issue of Which magazine across the year, but you'll also be helping us to make life simpler, fairer and safer for everyone. Don't forget to hit subscribe wherever you're listening, that way you'll be notified whenever we release a new episode of Which Money, Which Shorts or another podcast that we make for you. And if you want to get in touch with us, then follow us on social media, we're at WhitchUK, or you can drop us an email to podcasts@which.co.uk. See you next time.
If you're enjoying this podcast from us here at Which, then why not become a Which member? Right now, we've got a special offer, especially for podcast listeners, meaning you can choose any of our 3 membership tiers for 50% off the usual price. Starting at just £39.50 for a full year, you can get Which magazine delivered direct to your door. For the same price, you could also choose a digital Which subscription, giving you access to all of our product reviews, the Which app, and the digital edition of Which magazine. What's more, you'll also be able to use the Ask Which service for personalised one-to-one buying advice. Or why not get a full access Which subscription for just £49.50 for a full year? Don't forget, that's 50% off the usual price. To join Which or to find out more, just head to which.co.uk/podcast offer. That's which.co.uk/podcast offer, or click the link in the description for today's podcast for 50% off a Which annual subscription.